Hello. I'm a few minutes late, so I'm just going to give it a second for people to come on. All right. So tonight is a full moon. It is the harvest moon. And hey, Tasha. Hey, Taylor. Okay. Tonight is a full moon, and it is the harvest moon, and I have gotten a couple people who have asked or have noticed that they feel like they're having these like really extreme high days where everything they want is manifesting and showing up out of nowhere, and they feel so good, and then the next day it's like death and dismemberment and their world is falling apart, and they feel like they're going crazy. And that is something that I wanted to talk about, because fall is this beautiful time of year, and it is both a time of life and prosperity and harvest, and everything that you've put into all your efforts are coming to fruition, but the world is also getting ready to go to sleep and dying, at least in the northern hemisphere. And in the other side of the world, it's the same thing. Things are waking up, things are coming to life, you're starting new projects. So depending on where you are in the world, which it was pointed out to me that I have some followers who are in the lower hemisphere, so thank you for that. I will start incorporating both things in the States as well as things in New Zealand and Australia. So thank you for pointing that out to me. I do appreciate that. So right now, let's first talk about the seasons and what the change of seasons do to your body and how much your body recognizes it and what it does because of it. So firstly, I'm going to talk about fall, and then I'm going to talk about spring. So in the fall, and I just realized that I'm talking really fast because I'm really excited. Okay, so in the fall, you have things that you've worked on for a really, really long time. You've put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. You planted seeds, you let them grow, you let life take over, and now every part of you, your mind, your body, and your spirit, are feeling this pull to, it's time to get what I've put effort towards, right? And so some of you are in a state of anticipation that maybe you are feeling anxiety, but I invite you to change that from anxiety to anticipation. Let it be exciting instead of fearful. Some of you are feeling like, I've put in so much work and my garden is dead. I put all that in for nothing, right? I did all of this work with my business. I did all of this work with my family. I did all of this work with my money, my relationships, and I have nothing to show for it. And so we're going to address that as well. So in the fall, your body, your spirit, and your mind all know that the things you've worked towards for that have been filled with faith and good and light and love are going to come to harvest. So right now is a time of plentiful, but it is also a time of abundance. And so really quick, I want to talk about abundance versus prosperity, because they are not the same thing. You can have prosperity, which is a progression. It's better than what you currently have. Harvest. You can also have abundance. And abundance just means a lot. So if you planted a garden of thoughts, of words, of deeds, of vegetables, whatever, you planted a garden and then you neglected it. Or worse, you poisoned it, like with our head and negative thoughts and acting like nothing we do matters. So you poisoned your garden. When it comes time to harvest, you will have nothing to show for it. Or maybe you worked way too hard, and during weeding you couldn't tell the difference between your pumpkin plants and weeds, and so you pulled out all of your barely germinated plants, and then you kept waiting for something to grow, and you kept waiting for something to grow, and you kept waiting for something to grow. But because at the time of work you didn't understand what would help you and what would hurt you, you just got rid of everything. And now it's harvest time and there's nothing to show. We do this in our minds. We can't decide the difference between this thought helps me and this thought hurts me. So we think, I'll just get rid of all of them. I'm going to start from scratch. Or we look at our business and we haven't let something mature long enough to see that this is benefiting me, so I'm going to continue to let this grow. And so we get rid of everything. Harvest is the time, fall is the time that shows us whether or not the work we did before was the best work for what we were trying to accomplish. Because if you're trying to grow pumpkins and yet you pulled out all your baby pumpkins, you're not going to have any pumpkins. It doesn't matter that you waited the 120 days that it takes for a pumpkin to fully germinate and then grow and become a full ripe pumpkin. If you pulled your pumpkin out in week 3 because it wasn't a pumpkin yet, you're not going to magically have pumpkins at harvest time. Is this making sense? Because for many of you, this is what you're feeling. You planted something last spring. You started a project. You started doing information. You started doing mindset work. And you were working on it. And you were working on it, and you were working on it. And then all of a sudden, you went, I don't have what I want right now. You planted your pumpkin seed and a little green sprout came up, but you couldn't tell the difference. You didn't actually know that that was your pumpkin seed because you forgot to label it. You forgot to label it as this is my desire. So you pulled out the pumpkin seed. And then you kept waiting for your pumpkins to show up. And you were like, oh, well, it takes 120 days, so I'm just going to keep waiting. But you never replanted that. You never continued to work on your desire, or you completely lost sight of what it was that you wanted. So now in the fall, as you wait for harvest to come, as you wait for all of your mindset work to matter, as you wait for that pivot in your business to happen, it's not. And part of that is you feel this, you're like, I've been hustling, I've been pushing, I've been putting forth so much effort, I've been in complete overwhelm all summer long, and I have nothing to show for it. So some of you are there, and some of you are in a very different energy. Because you planted your pumpkin seed and you went, this seed does not look like a pumpkin, but one day it will. And I'm going to nurture it, and I'm going to love on it, and I'm going to let it grow. And I'm going to give it what it needs, but I'm not going to overwork my garden by pulling everything out of it. So some of you right now are feeling prosperity, which is a progress of the work you've done. Some of you are feeling abundance, which means a lot. And right now, some of you have a lot of nothing. Some of you have a lot of weeds, and some of you have a lot of pumpkins. So for some people, this is a time of celebration. It's a time of joy. It's a time of look at what I did, and I'm getting exactly what I want. And so that's part of the energy that's happening right now. Some of you are also like, but I don't know if now's the right time to pick my pumpkins. Is it cantaloupe season? Did I miss it? So you're feeling like, is now the correct time to harvest my thoughts? Is now the right time to launch my business? Is now the right time to progress my relationship? Is now the right time to really show my power and influence? And the answer to all of those is yes. Now is the right time. Because people are feeling that in just a few months, those who are not prepared are going to have to figure out how to live. And I mean this because it's winter. Please don't overthink anything. Because in the wintertime, it's a time for rest. In the wintertime, it's a time for connection and for gathering. And so fall has frantic energy mixed with excitement energy, mixed with a lot of work energy. Who is feeling this right now? Are you understanding? Like, is this making sense? Give me a little feedback here. Because then I'm going to go on to the moon and why these two together are making you have this weird energy right now. So in the fall, we're getting ready to be tired. We're getting ready to go to sleep. I've got an itch to get rid of all my furniture and get new ones. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like we are creating space so that we have comfort as we rest and recover and sleep. And so we're trying to make things comfy and cozy and make sure we have all that we need for the next little while. So for those of you who are in the northern hemisphere and we're starting to prepare to go to sleep, to go into comfort, to go into rest, to go into connection energy, that's what's happening with fall. for those of you in the southern hemisphere, you guys are going from spring into summer, so you have the exact opposite feeling. You have this excitement to start new things. You have this excitement to wake up, to feel alive, to go, what's happening next in my world? What do I want to see come from my work in a couple of months? So you have this duality in the world right now, where half of the world is coming alive because it's spring, and the other half of the world is getting ready to fall asleep. And it's a beautiful time for all of us, because whether you're in the part of the world that's waking up and starting new projects, or you're in the places in the world where you are gathering what you were given and getting into a time of peace and rest and recovery, I ask you to honor that. So if you are trying to start a new project right now, it will exhaust you. And my mom plants flowers, and so there are certain, like winter wheat and spring wheat are planted at different times, because one variety has to lay dormant and be cold before it will actually germinate. I'm a farm kid, hence all of the weird analogies about harvest. But the other variety has to be planted in warmth, and if it gets cold, it dies. So there's a time to plant certain things, and there's a time to launch, and there's a time to rest. So we're feeling that right now. So this anxiety, this sense of achievement that's putting you into overwhelm, if you're going into fall and winter, you need to stop and you need to breathe and you need to ask yourself, is now the time to put forth all of this effort in weeding a garden? Or is now the time to collect what I have and weigh and measure if the work I just did was the right work? For example, I just did a retreat. I spent all summer long prepping and preparing for this retreat because I wanted to make sure that the women got what they needed from this retreat, which was about healing. It was about their desire. It was about putting into practice what it was that they were wanting. And all of that work culminated in my harvest, which was my retreat. What are you working on right now that you've been working on for a while? Because now is not the time to hesitate. Harvesting it, producing it, getting what you need from it. Launch it. It's one of the things that's driving you crazy. Okay? So then we're going to throw in the moon. And tonight, let's see, I'm doing this on September 20th, so there will be a full moon where I live tonight. And it is not just the full moon, but it's a harvest moon, which means any intentions that you have put out there a couple weeks ago during the new moon, if you were aware of that, are also coming to fruition. And so right now is a time of heightened emotions for the people who are becoming aware of the earth and its cycles. Not just the seasons, but the fact that you have the harvest moon and you have fall, and everything is saying what you've worked for is ripe, it's ready. Are you working on your mind and your heart and your soul to be in alignment so that you can receive the goodness that the earth and source energy and our creator is ready to give you? It's not just a time of abundance. Abundance just means more. Now is a time of prosperity. It's a time to come into and decide that you can have what you are desiring. So if a couple weeks ago you said, this is what I'm wanting and I'm going to hold space for that, this is the moon and the season that it's going to be like, here's what you have been working for. Here is what you've been desiring. Here is what you've put your time, energy, and effort towards. And it is a beautiful abundance, and there will be a plethora. And here's the reason why I felt like I needed to do this. There are so many people right now that have worked really hard, that have hustled, that have struggled, that have done the grind. And now that you've gone through all of that needless work, and I do call it needless because women in feminine energy should never hustle. But you've done all of that hard work, and now Source Energy and our Creator and the universe are trying to give you, and you are refusing to receive. That is, you are trying, you've done all of this work, and now literally the season and the moon are saying, here you go. And you're saying, I can't do this, I'm not have it. Well, what about those that are in spring, that you're getting ready to plan and prepare? Set your goal a little higher than you think you can get. If you're trying to have a 10K month, then set your goal for a 15K month instead, because you can't receive more than you plant. Well, I'm actually going to explain that in, well, no, I'm not going to go that. That's too big of a squirrel. If you want a pumpkin, you can't plant a cantaloupe. So in the springtime and in the energy of, I want to receive this at the end, you have to make sure that that's what you're planting. And this is why in the spring, people get so full of energy and so alive and so awake, and their head is like, oh, there's so many things I want to do. And then you did them all spring and summer long. And you've put forth all of that energy and you've put forth all of that work. Are you willing to receive? Now is a time of receiving. Now is a time of accepting. Are you willing to accept? So what this does with your body, what that looks like, what that feels like, how open do you feel in your body? When you breathe, is it short breaths because you're holding it, getting ready and bracing for pain? Or is it deep, relaxed and ready to receive goodness? Right now is a time for you to relax. Whether you're planting or harvesting, your body needs to be prepared to receive inspiration. Your body needs to be ready to receive luxury, to receive pleasure, to receive inspiration. It needs to receive. And so many women right now are getting tight and tense, and they're clenching and they're holding their breath and they're saving up for something, I'm not sure what, but they're not allowing themselves to get what they're wanting. And yet everything about the seasons right now is asking you, begging you, willing you to breathe in, to relax, to be open, to be receiving. So a lot of deep breathing, a lot of actually like cleanse everything in your body, and then actively feel yourself release. Because so many people don't realize how tense they are until I say, tense everything in your body, and they're like, it already is. And then I say, breathe and relax. Relax your toes, relax your jaw, relax your butt. Relax your rib cage. Like actually allow everything to open up, because this is what your body needs in order for you to receive everything you want to receive. It's part of being in that divine feminine energy that is receiving energy. There's a reason why fall is usually represented as a woman. When you think about harvest, you always think of a goddess. And when you think about spring, you always think of a goddess. It's the awakening, it's the nurturing, it's the healing, it's the harvesting. Because those are times of extreme divine feminine energy. So it sounds simple, and I know it's simple, but how many of you are still holding your breath, even though I said, take a really deep breath, tense everything in your body, now relax and let it go. Be open to receiving goodness. It is the harvest time. It's the time for, if it's spring, it's the time for starting new projects. If it's the fall, it's the time for receiving what you want from those projects. But both of those require you to be open. To be full of light and bright and full of energy. That's what the full moon is. It's about being open. It's about being the bright thing that's surrounded by darkness. It's about being the beacon that cleanses and clears and brings hope and brings love. Ladies, we are in a time right now throughout the world where women need to step into their ability to be healers, to be nurturers, and to see that that is extremely empowering. We need more women to step into that beautiful, divine, feminine energy so they can receive and be open. Take a deep breath. Okay, now here's the next upper, bigger piece to this. When you open up and you get that receiving energy and you're ready to start receiving, are you ready to receive pain? Or are you ready to receive pleasure? Don't just be open to receiving death and dismemberment and chaos and destruction and harsh and hurt and heart, because then you'll start holding your breath again. Be ready to receive and release luxurious, pleasurable things. Because women thrive on pleasure. Women thrive on being tuned in and turned on. And you cannot be tuned in to source energy, to God, to the universe, if you are turned off and tuned out. Tuned in, turned on. I'm in alignment, mind, body, and spirit. I'm turned on. I'm awake. I'm aware of everything around me in a beautiful way. I'm ready to receive. Turned off and tuned out. I'm numb. I'm slow. My vibration is low. And I push away everything I've been asking for. Breathe. Breathe in goodness. Breathe out stress. That in and of itself, if you watch this video and all you get from me is that I need to breathe more, then this video had a beautiful purpose. If you are feeling like, no, there's more to this, there's more I need to be aware of, then today was day 1 of the Out of Overwhelm mini class that I'm doing this week. So it'll be 5 hours of instruction. It's Monday through Friday from noon Mountain Standard Time. So if that is something that you're not in and you want to be like, I want to be out of overwhelm, then I will put that link in the comments, because we've only done 1 day so far. And I need you to understand that women do not thrive in overwhelm. Women thrive in pleasure. They thrive in desire. They thrive in feeling nurtured and nourished. And women who thrive have both prosperity and abundance. Women who are in feminine energy right now are open and excited to what is happening. So I want to invite those of you that are searching for joy, that you are preparing for a winter of connection and intimacy and prosperity. You can't start it in overwhelm and anxiety. So I am going to put that in the comments. But in the very least, breathe in the harvest. Breathe in that you can receive large amounts of good things, that the work that you've done has a purpose and a reason, because life happens for you, not to you. We have a change in seasons for you, to help you see that transformation and transition from one thing to the next is inevitable. I'm going to say that again. We have seasons so that we can learn, mind, body, and spirit, that transformation and transition from one thing to the next is inevitable. You cannot avoid transformation. Even the earth as a whole goes through transformation. It wakes up, it has fun, it plays, it reaps the rewards of its work, and then it takes time to rest. Women also go through phases. Even the moon has times where it's bright and it shines, and it also has times where it's cold and dark and reflective. As a woman, You are allowed to have phases that last. We are not linear. We're cyclical. Allow yourself to transform from season to season, and allow yourself to phase from that light, bright, dark, transformational energy over and over and over. And I'll tell you right now, if you try to do it in stress and hustle and push, it won't work. You have to be willing to do it in divine feminine energy. You have to be willing to tune in and turn on instead of turn off and tune out. So if you're not in the Overwhelm mini course, get in it. And for those of you that are in it and you're like, but I want more. I hear you talk about feminine energy. I hear you talk about tuned in and turned on. And I need to learn more about this. Then join me at the 2-day event in October in Salt Lake City, Utah. Well, it's in South Jordan, Utah. 2 days of discovering the divine feminine, what it means to be tuned in and turned on, what it means to feel in your body what receiving is. There are so many beautiful, amazing things happening in the world right now. And you can be part of that healing. You can be part of the nurturing and the light. Because women are beings of light. You are creators. And I want to teach more women so that they can be aware, because the divine feminine awakening is happening whether you are part of it or understand it or not. But the more women who understand it, the more women who step into it, the more women who decide to be part of the awakening, the faster this earth will heal, the faster our families will heal, and the faster we will all be able to live in desire and pleasure and comfort and connection. We'll understand our identity, we'll have influence for good, and we'll be able to have those beautiful, intimate relationships that we are all longing for. So right now, I want you to evaluate what prosperity and abundance have I been cultivating all summer long? Where in my life am I pushing away receiving because I'm tense? Where in my life right now is the universe trying to give me everything I've asked for, but I need to open myself up to be willing to receive it? That is what this time of year is about. It's about receiving goodness. It's about receiving the merits of your work and your time and attention. And ladies, you do deserve to have the good things in life. I love you. Please breathe, relax, and enjoy the day.